Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you live from the outskirts of the internet. This is the Gaming Saloon E3 Day 4 special, the final day. We're mostly gonna just recap stuff because there's not a whole lot else to talk about. None of the major sites had anything new.
Also, I'm gonna mention this. I see we're touching releases. Did you actually do a release one? Because there's no
down.
link there.
Scroll down.
Okay.
The site was kind of down when I did it, so I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna start putting it in the document.
Okay. Wow. I actually kind of like that. Except for that'll take me a while to get used to that.
I know. I figured the site, that's the last thing that was left on the site at this point, so I might as well drop it and just start doing it in the document. Honestly, it's actually easier in the document slightly because there's an automatic delete the hyperlink attached to this text button in Google Drive.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, please. But yeah, we only had a couple things to talk about, and it's mostly just general things about a couple major stuff that was talked about. By the way, there was no amiibo at Treehouse. I had the stream on all day. So
it's almost like Nintendo's just abandoned amiibos.
I don't know if Bill Trennan was talking about Day 3, but that's indie stuff. But I think they're starting out with Cadence of Hyrule. So unless there's something related to Cadence of Hyrule involving amiibo support, I don't know. I don't know if he mixed up days or not.
I can't think there would be something with it. Because, like, I'm trying to think, what would you be able to pull off in that game?
I'm not super familiar with Crypto the Necrodancer, so I can't speak to that.
Well, from what I grasp of it, it's obviously rhythm-based, but it's like a procedurally generated dungeon crawler kind of deal.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's not anything that's set every time you play it kind of deal.
I don't know, maybe you'll unlock some extra songs.
Like, it would either have to be that or maybe, but well, no, maybe they did like custom skins for some of the Zelda amiibos.
Yeah.
But I can't think they'd have anything outside of the Zelda stuff, and on top of that, I'd have to wonder how limited that might be.
Yeah, in terms of the news, Game Informer and Easy Allies and many others have gotten hands-on with Final Fantasy VII Remake on the showroom floor. It is pretty much the demo footage we've seen, because it goes into the spider tank fight. More or less just details some aspects. So one thing, did you notice in the footage that there was a thing attached to the square button? I think on Cloud it says Punisher mode. Okay, essentially there's kind of a stance system in the game. So for Cloud, when you hit square, you're switching between two different stances. Forget which point in here it is.
I gotta say, I kind of like the slimmed down UI that is right there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, here it is. Point 19, operator mode, which is standard speed and damage, but Punisher mode slows your speed, but you do more damage. And Barrett's is essentially your fire select mode. Do you want rapid fire, or do you want single shot? And single shot does more damage.
As is standard Final Fantasy, because that's how that always goes.
Yeah. They did not go hands-on with Tifa or Aerith. This is pretty much like the literal beginning of the game with you infiltrating the Mako reactor. Is what they got to play. So, that's it. You can't swap between characters during exploration. The map is exactly how you'd expect the map to be, except it's in 3D. There are chests that will give you items and stuff. They couldn't go into the materia stuff. They couldn't go into any menus or anything. So we don't know how like all the materia stuff works exactly, but presumably considering the rest of the game, it probably works just like it did in the original 7. You can hard lock on the enemies. There's a soft lock on, and then there's a hard lock on. Soft lock on will kind of swap between enemies depending on where the camera's going, but there's a hard lock.
So there's a Z target.
Pretty much. It's the same thing that's in Kingdom Hearts. There's a soft like lock on in Kingdom Hearts, but you can hard lock onto an enemy, and like it won't change unless you specifically want it to change. But the game, like it's been said, is all Midgard. So we're stuck in Midgard for the entire game that is apparently 2 Blu-ray discs, I assume.
Yeah, and I did see something pointing out that, you know, in the original, this was like 4 to 5 hours, so they're effectively turning this into a full-fledged game.
Yeah, essentially, they are treating the 7 remake as like the next numbered installment of Final Fantasy. So there's no 16 in development at the moment. It's all hands on deck for Final Fantasy 7 remake. Like, don't expect a 16 until we are done with this. The voice cast is new for the game. The second installment is apparently in the planning stages, but again, we don't know how many installments there are because they've confirmed that themselves. We don't know how many this will take, so that's fun to hear. Yeah, that's kind of some of the main stuff. I don't know. I still have concerns. Mainly just, it seems like you're not doing a whole lot of damage. And I also believe there's a hard cutoff point between phases, it seemed like, because I was rewatching the footage from somebody's talk on it. I think Jim Sterling's talk on it when I noticed it, and I'm like, that literally stopped taking damage to transition phases. Okay. But in brighter news, Onomura talked a little bit about all of the Zelda stuff we've seen recently. I think the important stuff, considering, you know, he's just talking about Link's Awakening, coming back to it. Also, he talked about Breath of the Wild 2, and saying that the reason they're doing it is that he wanted to revisit the Hyrule. So make of that what you will about where we're going in this Breath of the Wild 2 sequel.
That's making me wonder if maybe he even felt like it kind of was lacking in the story end of it, and we might not have actually gotten the justice that this incarnation needed.
Yeah, it will be darker. They're not going to deny the Majora's Mask influence. Although there is some straight up references to Ocarina of Time that I have now noticed, because I skimmed through the Zelda Reddit earlier. They pointed out there's like 2 different straight up references to Ocarina of Time. When Zelda turns around and then Ganon like head comes up and looks at her, or looks at the camera, that is exactly like how it is in Ocarina of Time when you first meet Zelda and Ganon. Mm-hmm. And the castle lifting up is reminiscent of Ganon's castle in Ocarina of Time. Vaguely speaking.
I didn't even think about it that way. Because we technically right now don't know how far that castle's floating.
Uh-huh.
And if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Ganon's castle technically Hyrule Castle?
Yes.
Huh.
I'm skimming through the Reddit now because there might have been something else. Someone also brought up an interesting point that I didn't even think about. You remember the tapestry when Impa is recapping 10,000 years ago when Calamity Ganon was originally sealed?
I think it's been quite a while. Because bear in mind, the last time I was probably at that point was not long after launch.
Okay, then I gotta grab an image for you for this because it pointed out something. It made me rewatch the cutscene, and I'm like, I didn't realize that. That's interesting.
If it's what I think it is, I think I've seen something about it. But at the same time, I was wanting to do a little more digging myself, so I was like, I'm going to take this at face value right now and go from there.
Oh, that is supremely not the right folder.
I do kind of wonder, though, if they're drawn from that, if they're drawn from Ocarina a lot, or, well, let me rephrase this. Because from what I did read something where a lot of the inspiration is, or for the team is from Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, I actually saw that too. I didn't read into it, but
I'm thinking to myself now, I started to say if it's drawn a lot from Ocarina, then we might technically see an Ocarina 2 as opposed to a Breath of the Wild 2. But now that I'm more thinking about it, this might just be coincidence.
Yeah, I posted the image in question from the tapestry in the Discord. But notice you notice certain aspects of the quote-unquote hero that don't look like Link, but look like Ganon.
Well, there was two things that came out of this. And both of them now are kind of making me question. One was that potentially the hero from this legend might be Ganondorf.
Mm-hmm.
Which we have to assume is who's imprisoned.
Yes.
There's kind of a limited roster without adding new. The other thing is, which I partially disagree, but is the fact that the hero is shown with one arm. Actually, you know what? That might be right. Isn't Breath of the Wild Link right-handed?
I honestly don't remember.
I know most incarnations he's left-handed.
Yeah.
I say most because Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword, it's question mark because of their Wii presence, but I think canonically he's left-handed. I feel though like Breath of the Wilds might be right-handed, and if that's the case, that might actually play into if it's more that direction. But it was talking about potentially, that glowing hand might not actually be his.
Yeah.
Which is something that you said about.
Yeah. But yeah, someone had a theory that, like, Ganon isn't the antagonist. He's not our villain. It's a fake out. It's actually the hand. Nope, so no, Link's a righty. He's not a lefty in this game.
I thought this was one of the oddities. So that could be the other thing that it might be alluding to, but the red hair.
Yeah. Like a very distinctive red hair. And even in the form of a mane, even.
And the emphasis on the gold jewelry.
Uh-huh.
My question, though, boils down to how are they gonna play that one out? Because I feel like there's one of two options here. One, Ganondorf isn't technically the antagonist, and it's some kind of corruption by whatever that hand thing is.
Yeah.
That may or may not be Twilight related. Because like I said, I think I've seen that within the game for something else. That kind of particle effect they've got on the hand. But at the same time, it very likely could be their take on the Twilight Realm.
I was about to say, the green...
I'm not ruling it out.
I was about to say, the green particle effect is actually similar to all of the green particle effects associated with the champions that are dead. It's the same color. Make of that what you will, but it's the same color.
Well, I was more meaning the effects that they've got on the arm itself.
Yeah.
So it could be that the arm is the true antagonist, which I guess that could work if it's like the arm of demise or something like that. Like someone that predates Ganondorf being an antagonist.
Yeah.
The other option could be that he turned evil at some point. And then the hand became part of why Calamity Ganon existed. I feel like there's a couple of different options. And if it's the latter of the two, then this could technically be Ganondorf playing the role of the hero in an attempt to try to get in closer to obtaining all the pieces of the Triforce.
Yeah.
Which is a typical Ganondorf move.
I just, like... It just feels weird that, like, one trailer has made people, like, reevaluate Breath of the Wild and re-examine everything from the game of being like, oh, fuck, there's shit here we've been overlooking for fucking, like, 3 years now.
Well, I always kind of felt that it was a little bit odd the way that it just ended.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, we really don't have any final dialogue or anything. It's more or less one of those Calamity Ganon is just that. He's a beast to destroy. It never really felt like he was a person.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's what was missing. Now,
Yeah.
I'll be the first one to admit I should have pieced it together, but I didn't. The Master Sword never got returned, meaning that story technically was not done.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's one of those. I'll be the first to admit I missed that.
Yeah.
It wasn't until they dropped this that I was like, oh, wait, right, huh.
Yeah, like I said, it feels weird. It's just like, this has made Breath of the Wild like go back under the microscope, being like, did we miss shit? Have they just quietly set up a sequel and just we never noticed the clues?
I think what they did was they did it honestly smart, and I feel like one of the only other games that I can think of right offhand that knew it was going to tell a longer story but kind of left it where it could end where it was too was honestly the first Halo.
Yeah.
Because you look, Breath of the Wild could have completely ended. They could have walked away, went on to the next incarnation, and said, okay, that one's done. Instead, I think there's enough little tidbits that they left in there that it's like, sure, this is a avenue we could go. If we wanted to do a sequel, we easily could pull from the stuff we left in there and go.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, I'm feeling like I'm married to the idea of what if we, like, again, just quote unquote break the curse? What if this is a game that is all about trying to break the cycle? Because I feel like all the pieces and all the characters are there to do it. And now that we're like reevaluating things and seeing that like maybe Ganondorf wasn't that much of a bad guy potentially, like we have the pieces for like breaking the cycle that we have seen through so many Zeldas. And like I don't expect like Ganondorf to be retired as a villain after this game.
No,
that's not gonna happen.
No, but I hope that if that is the path that they're going on, this gives the option for future games to where they could maybe treat him as a hero instead of a villain.
Or even let like other villains of the franchise, or like be able to go, we have other villains we've created, why don't we focus on them for a game? Let Ganon fade into the background for like a couple games.
And you know, now that I'm kind of thinking too, I'm kind of alright with that idea about the whole breaking the curse thing, because what if it is the arm? What if the arm is the reason for all of this that's happened?
Yeah.
If you think about it, I don't think it was ever confirmed in Breath of the Wild, but in most Zelda games, Link has a piece of the Triforce, Zelda has a piece, and Ganondorf has a piece.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning if they were all together and all utilized it for the same purpose, they could break the curse. They could, in theory, put an end to all of this.
Yeah.
The question is, at this point, is Ganondorf in the mental capacity to be able to help?
Yeah. Maybe that's part of the game, is finding a way to save Ganon. Or Ganondorf in this case.
And I mean, that could be something else too, that people will probably be like, well, Ganondorf's always been evil. Yes, that's the truth. But what always happens after you defeat Ganondorf in Zelda games? He turns into Ganon. What if that arm is the embodiment of what's left of Ganon?
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, we do know that Zelda kind of nuked Calamity Ganon's face.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be too far-fetched to be like, that might be the only piece of him left.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be the first time Nintendo has let one of their main villains be positioned in a more heroic role for a game.
Yeah.
Like, do I need to point out every instance Bowser has went, fuck, I'll work with Mario for the greater good because I don't like this person. Like, we are talking about the original Nintendo villain, and he's flirted with the good, flirted with the light every now and again for reasons. And it's okay if it's just this one time, because it doesn't invalidate Ganon every other time. Hell, it might even like recontextualize all those incarnations and make you go, what if those Ganons were redeemable? What if those Ganons were savable?
And just no one bothered to try.
Like, doing something like that would recontextualize the entire franchise and throw a whole new spin on every game and make you go, I want to replay these games and see, like, could this incarnation have been saved? Could this incarnation have turned good if the right things happened? It kind of makes Ganon a bit more tragic in a sense. Which is why I'm kind of married to it, because I'm like, this just doesn't give, like, this not only just gives Breath of the Wild 2 a really distinctive, like, twist on the Zelda mythology and the Zelda story, but it also, like, gives depth to every game before it.
Yeah.
Which is, like, the biggest win-win you could ever fucking have, I feel like.
And I am going to go out on a limb and say this. We're probably going to get some kind of an insight into which direction the game might be going based off of whatever the subtitle is.
Yeah. The subtitles have always been important in Zelda, so...
Well, it has, but it hasn't. To be fair, I feel like Breath of the Wild's probably the exception to that rule.
Yeah, it's more it's more about the concepts of Breath of the Wild and I guess the gameplay than it has, like, anything story related.
Which, I mean, from a technical sense, most of the subtitles, as far as newer ones, I should say, have tended to drift around important items or people.
Mm-hmm.
So, if this one is a story focused more on Ganon, I could probably see a title leaning towards that.
Which begs the question of what the fuck would even be the subtitle?
The one that would give it away, unfortunately, and I know they probably won't do it because they like being cryptic enough about it, but honestly, Redemption is the subtitle.
Yeah, but I feel like it would be more than one word.
If they're trying to break everything else, don't try to hold to that.
Very true. Yeah, it's so weird to be in this position because I'm really excited for Legend of Zelda. I don't think I've ever been this way. I don't think I was even this excited for Breath of the Wild.
I can't say the same, actually, because I kind of was for Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. But Breath of the Wild was my first taste of proper Zelda. Because again, my first taste of Zelda was Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah.
Which, makes me really married to the idea of can Lana just go on a cross universe field trip and just make a cameo in this game? Being hi, I'm here. Go this way, by the way.
If only Hyrule Warriors was canon.
I know.
If it was canon, we would have saw something in Breath of the Wild hinting towards it.
Yeah. And I'm also married to the idea of, can I have my poor lost child appear at some point? I love my poor lost child.
That would be hilarious if they wound up putting Linkle into Breath of the Wild 2 just as an NPC somewhere.
Yeah, just as a... I would just love it as it's just, here's some person who keeps talking about how she keeps getting hassled by these weird ninja people, because whenever they ask her name, she's like, Linkle. And they're like, oh shit, Link! And they just attack her, and she's just like, I don't know who these people are. I don't know why they keep attacking me. That would be a hilarious in joke.
It would. And it would even be able to be topped off by a case of when you first talk to her, she's like, hey, you look like me.
You look like me?
It'd be one of those that'd be like, no, actually it's the other way around, but sure, we'll go with that.
I would love it even better if because Amora was even asked the question of how many playable characters are in this game, and he didn't specify. And it was also asked if Zelda was playable, and he would not specify.
Of course he wouldn't. Although, Nintendo's hit the age of multiplayer again.
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet Zelda's playable. Maybe not in a co-op sense, but maybe in a split campaign sense kind of deal.
Yeah. Because I would, as much as I would love for us to break the cycle with Link, Zelda's character going into a sequel makes her the perfect protagonist for this. Because if anyone's going to break this fucking cycle, it's going to be Zelda, who went through hell and back in this first game mentally, and has all the motivation in the world to be like, no, fuck this bullshit. We're ending this.
What I really think would be neat to see would be a case of the first half of the game possibly being something tied towards Link basically being possessed by that arm.
Yeah.
And forced to do stuff that he shouldn't do while you're playing as Zelda trying to figure out a way to give him control back.
Yeah. More or less.
I feel like part of that cutscene might have been the point where he has some control over it.
That would be fantastic if you're playing as Zelda and you're seeing a normal Zelda game from the outside looking in. And you're constantly 3 steps behind Link, and you're always seeing this is a normal Zelda game that we are seeing from the outside that we are not playing because this isn't right. And Zelda knows it's not right. Like, it might be putting too much on this game.
It might be.
But I feel like going back to this game, considering how much Breath of the Wild, in terms of a gameplay sense, already broke away from a lot of Zelda tradition and did its own thing. I feel like if you do a sequel, you break more. And the only places that they can break more with is the story and the characters.
I feel like, though, and this is going to be weird to say, but I kind of feel like Breath of the Wild 2, we're probably going to see some kind of weird hybrid mix. Like, I feel like we're going to have, not necessarily hand-holding, like some of them have, but maybe more of a routed idea. Where you've got certain things you have to do, but the order is kind of yours to make. Because I feel like that would probably be the best compromise.
I just thought of something. The thing possessing Link is a hand, right?
Yeah.
We've always had someone talking to us in our head in Zelda. And as you just mentioned, Zelda can be hand-holdy at times. Oh, look, here's a literal hand pointing you where to go.
I feel like if that's the case, that was completely unintentional.
I know. But I'm like, if you wanted to really fuck with the player and fuck with their expectations, this is a design that subtly goes, we're pushing you in a direction that you don't want to go, because we are literally here controlling your control, like holding half of the controller.
But yeah, I kind of hope at least gameplay-wise they do like I was saying.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not necessarily have a hand-holdy story, but have more of a routed story. Because, I mean, really, if you think about where we're at in Twilight Princess, it almost feels like there's no alternative.
Yeah.
And we're kind of late into it now. So it's one of those, if it hasn't by now, it's probably not going to. I honestly feel like the back half of Wind Waker probably is the best example of what I would kind of like to see them do. Where it's like, okay, you've got the tools that you need to do things readily available to you, because you could literally pick up any weapons that are on the field, but here's the things you have to do, and it's your call on what you want to do first.
Mm-hmm.
Quite frankly, something like that I would be completely fine with.
Yeah. But before we talk Zelda theory for a game that we have a 2-minute long trailer? I forgot how long the trailer is.
2 or 3.
Yeah. Because I feel like I have to change something in my list, but I kind of don't want to because of how I reacted to it.
Yeah.
But in a wrap up for E3, just got a series of questions and not necessarily awards really to give out about how you felt about E3. So to kick things off, this probably is going to be the easiest answer in the fucking world out of all of these.
And
Your
it's
favorite
probably
press
gonna
conference?
Be both of us having the same.
Yes.
I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say Nintendo.
Yes.
Yeah.
But here's the harder question. What's your least favorite press conference?
Now, from what we covered, right?
Yes. Like, EA Play I don't count as a press conference. It's more of like a treehouse event. So if we talk press conferences, I'm not counting treehouse in the conversation. I'm counting the direct. Just to be fair.
I feel like I'm super calling the thing that we always call. Well, almost always call. I'm kind of feeling like it was Square. Because I feel like out of all of them, Square kind of is the one that didn't have anything that really kind of grabbed me.
Yeah.
Because even though the stuff we got out of Halo 6 to be just flat, because I'm sorry, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, there's more information here that they want people to find, but they're not going to say anything. And I don't really feel like digging, but at least it's good to see they've got something to show for it now, as opposed to a unrelated teaser. But yeah, I mean, they had that. Ubisoft had Watch Dogs. I really don't think much else out of Ubisoft, really.
Yeah.
Like, at least not right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
I'd have to say Square for me.
Yeah. It's really hard for me because I watched all of them live. And, like, I don't know. Everybody up to Square felt the same. And I think it was just the crowd that makes me soft on Square. Because that crowd was really good for Square. Like, it wasn't obnoxious, but they were hyped. And I could feel that hype. And that made me happy that other people were happy.
Well,
as much as I might have problems with the 7 remake or Avengers, at least people were happy about them. I have concerns, but at least people were happy.
I feel like the problem with the Avengers game and then my lack of nostalgia for 7's just one of those. It's like, okay. Because I'm one of those that I'm kind of overhearing anyone that remotely plays Final Fantasy just rant and rave that 7's the best. It's like, okay, we all get that. Quite frankly, some of the newer ones, yeah, it's completely believable. Looking at you, 13.
All 3 of you.
But I mean, yeah, sure, I get that. But I wonder too if some of it could be nostalgia blindness.
I couldn't tell you. I don't think I really played enough of 7 to say whether I like 7 or not.
I mean, that's just me. I could be wrong.
Because I don't think I even made it out of Midgard. Was how not enough I've played of that. So I'm like, I'm just like, yeah, this is what I played. that I can vaguely remember. Because it's been like 5 years or so.
But yeah, I mean, it's the combination of that, and that was really about the only major thing that came out of Square, so it's like, yeah, it kind of fell short for me, because there was just nothing there that I was interested with.
I think the commonality for the shows that I would consider for this, which is Microsoft and Square, is that the things I liked coming out of them were not the major things. It was little smaller minor games, little smaller indie titles that I liked in those press conferences. It wasn't the big stuff.
And doesn't that always seem to be the case with Microsoft?
Yeah.
Like, for the last few years, they've not really had anything major.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been the little stuff that they quick one and done kind of deal.
Yeah. I think I'll probably agree with you and say Square, because I don't have nostalgia for 7. So I don't particularly have hype for 7. So I'm kind of in the middle. So when I look at the footage, I'm seeing both the good and the bad. And the things I'm seeing there just make me go, why is the stagger system here? This doesn't need a stagger system. Why is this here? Why is this bit of 13 in this game because I kind of don't like the stagger system in 13.
I think it would have been alright if they didn't horribly skew the damage you do when an enemy's not staggered.
Yeah.
Like, when it feels like you're doing a good 5 to 10 times more damage when they're staggered, it's like, whoa, that needs to be fixed. You ought to be able to do about double damage when they're staggered.
Yeah. It's like, I think Octopath Traveler gets it right. Like, if you want a weakness system in the game, it should be, you hit the weakness, you do more damage.
Well, I mean, I could see having the stagger system there, because then you could kind of, if you didn't want to fight everything, you could fight it to that point and probably get away then. But I've always had the big problem with 13, because the way they did the stagger system felt like it just drug the gameplay on.
Well, the thing is, from what it seems like with the regular enemies, you will kill them before you even remotely break their stagger.
Yeah. Yeah,
which feels,
if it's the same 13 stagger system than normal enemies, it's almost like it doesn't exist.
Yeah. It seems like it only exists for the boss to make the boss last longer, which I don't like. Why not? Like, the boss already is cutting your ability to do damage in order to do its phases. Why have the stagger system then?
Well,
you don't need the stagger system.
I'm sorry, a good boss fight wouldn't need that stagger system.
Yeah.
I'm just going to flat out say it. If I'm not mistaken, one of the points where I was at in 13, it was normal enemies, but they were all over leveled, because I kind of got fed up of the game and started speeding through it. But the levels got so skewed to the point where it was like I was doing mini boss fights all the way through this one area, and I got fed up about halfway through, because I was like, no, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
That's the big problem with the stagger system, because that happens when you try to go quicker with it. If you try to outrun the game, even if it's on accident, that stagger system comes back and just annihilates you.
Yeah. Well, to talk about better things, what are the game or games that have impressed you the most? Either seeing them really for the first time or seeing new stuff about them.
Well, now, I am gonna kind of stick to games that are coming out in the near future, kind of deal.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, yeah, there'd be one that would kind of throw in there that I actually feel like fits better down lower. And it's the one we've been talking about.
I can't say that because of my reaction on stream to the moment before that.
I can say it because watching the recording of the direct, the moment before that and that both got me.
Okay.
Like it was a double whammy. But I'd have to say Watch Dogs. Like I'm not 100% sold on it, but I'm at the point where a little bit more information and I probably will be.
Yeah. This whole, like, just recruit your crew, go raise hell, and just recruit whoever. I dig it. Will it be perfect? No. No. There will be at some point that, like, the seams will come apart. But it's a good enough concept that I'm in.
I think the concept wise I'm fine with, and that's probably what's got me most of the way there. The thing that's not got me 100% sold is how the story's gonna be done.
Yeah.
Because like it was mentioned on the stream during that press conference, you were saying about you were worried about how that'll work. And as I pointed out, it could work if they treat the group as one character.
Yeah.
I feel like they might not, which that'll be the problem.
Yeah. In talks with press, they've said that they've modified the script to change up different parameters depending on who's talking. So there is a script. And it's been not necessarily rewritten, but it's been modified in places to compensate for different scenarios popping up. But how well that script is put together is still in question. At the very least, they're trying.
Yeah.
But with something like this, there's only so much you can do.
And I mean, I know the story is going to get a decent hit on it just because of the fact of the way this is set up.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting flawless storytelling that withstands the times kind of deal, but I just hope that it isn't so bad that it's laughable bad kind of deal either.
Mm-hmm.
Because then that will be a problem. Honestly, I think that's probably about the only thing. Because, I mean, I don't want to count for two reasons. I don't want to count any kind of, like, DLC either.
Yeah.
And I can't throw Mario Maker into that one because we really didn't get anything for it.
Not really. Even the two Treehouse streams they did didn't really show off anything super new.
Which I kind of expected that with us getting a Maker 2 Direct. But it's one of those, it's like, yeah, I really can't even say that its presence at the Direct changed my opinion in any way. Because it was more of a case of, oh, hey, this is coming out. But yeah, I can't think of anything else for me anyhow.
I could say one thing that changed from an interested to I'm probably picking this game up, and that's Astral Train. Astral Train. God damn it, I keep doing that. Astral Chain. I can't speak English, people. Because, did you check out the Treehouse segment today that they did on it?
No.
They pretty much had the producer take like a fully loaded out character into a boss fight and let him go ham. And you got to see what you can really do in this game. Because it pretty much confirmed you have 5 different Legion characters you can have on you. And you can quick swap between them. They all act differently, like distinctly differently. They all have their place in your arsenal. You can unchain a Legion and have another one equipped to you, pretty much meaning that instead of 2 characters attacking a boss, it's now 3. And all of the tech that would involve that, all of your attacks and your movements, like everything in your arsenal right there is just like, damn, you can really do a lot of cool stuff in this game. And that's on top of like the fact you're a detective, you're investigating cases, there's like actual police work you're doing, and even better, the experience you get in the game, you get experience for picking up trash and throwing it away, or apprehending like people that are like being a nuisance. You get experience for doing the little smaller bits of your goddamn job as a police officer because you're still a cop. And you can take side quests that are pretty much you answering calls of just like, as an example, in the Treehouse segment, there was this person that was said, "Oh yeah, my like dumpster's haunted, potentially." So you go and investigate, and like this extra dimensional stuff that no one can see is at play with it. So you're cleaning that up and doing the side quest for them. But again, like, it looks so good, and it's on the Switch. So like, I'm really impressed by this. Like, I didn't think I would be. But I am extremely impressed now because it's hitting all of these buttons. I was trying to pull up a list. Actually, now that I think about it, why don't I just pull up the fucking release image I retweeted the other day? Wow.
Because that would be easier.
Yeah.
We can never do stuff the easy way. I mean, geez.
No, we cannot. For your reference, in case there was something that slipped your mind, there you go. I would also say Luigi's Mansion 3. Like, that looks really good.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't played either of the other Luigi's Mansions, and I kind of want to just play this.
I feel like I can agree with you on both of them, but I don't know if I'm 100% sold with both right yet.
Yeah.
Like maybe a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, definitely they're at least on my radar anyhow.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking at the images and nothing's hitting me at the moment. Of like, I have supremely changed my opinion for the better for these games. Because I can't say that about Fire Emblem, even though I super paid attention to the Treehouse segment today on it. And the Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 one. Because I'm buying both of you next month. Like, you do not need to say any more to me to make me want to buy these games. I'm just tuning in to see some cool stuff with these games. But I guess we probably kind of have the same answers for this one. But game or games that you are worried about? Things that were announced that make you go,
Well, I honestly can't say the 7 remake because I don't really have knowledge of as far as what KH3 has kind of done, and you said it's kind of the same system.
It's the same system for both 3 and 15, because 15 operates under the kind of the same idea.
So it's one of those, I don't really have any knowledge on that one.
Yeah.
Definitely for the Avengers one, I'm like,
Like, one of mine is Avengers, because, like, I came in excited, being like, cool, an Avengers game. Like, come on, I hope this is good. Like, we did good with Spider-Man. We're doing good with Ultimate Alliance 3. Can we do good with Avengers? And then live service, and just through the fucking floor. I'm like, oh no. Because, like, I will point this out forever until this game comes out. Live service games don't do well in their first year. And this is clearly going to be a live service game at this point. Like, they've said that, oh, there will be tailor-made single-player missions for certain heroes, but there will still be multiplayer. This still, like, how they're trying to sell, like, its roadmap says it's live service. And live service struggle in their first year. They still do. So I have no reason to not be worried. History says I should be worried, regardless of what this game looks like. And then we look at the game and the fact that it's still looking rough. And, like, Easy Allies sounded like made it sound like it was maybe good, but I'm still feeling like this is our first level and we're bouncing around between these heroes. And if we have single player missions dedicated to each of these individual heroes, how are those going to play? Because these are very distinctive segments from very distinctive genres. So, like, are they all going to be good? Are we going to have some good and some bad? Like, how good is the good? How bad is the bad? Like, this game can be all over the place because of how they're playing this. And I have concerns.
I honestly can't think of anything else, though.
I can say Jedi Fallen Order, but that's just through EA's reputation.
I mean, like, if we were going off of reputation, yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that.
Like, that's the only other thing I have concerns about, because I'm like, the game looks good, but EA has bungled Star Wars games before with their studios. Like, it feels like Remedy is being able to do their own thing with this, but still, are we sure?
There's still going to be a point where EA is going to be looking over their shoulder saying, you can't do that, you got to do it this way.
Yeah. Like, I think it's lessened by the fact of, I'm going to be playing Sword or Shield in November. So, I'm probably not getting Jedi off the bat, which is probably for the best. Then I'm like, I'd rather be playing Pokemon than Star Wars right now in November. And also, just as a reference, do you have this image on screen? No.
Not on screen now.
Okay. That October release for Persona 5 Royale that you might see, that is the Japanese release. The game's still coming out next year in America. Even though we just now got an English trailer. We're still not coming out till next year. So. And that I'm like, I've got no concerns over this. I'm in. You've shown enough to make me go, oh, you are reworking this game from the ground up. I'm good. Yeah, honestly, like, nothing else makes me worried. Like, 7 makes me worried, but it's not like I was super interested in 7 Remake to start with. And neither one of us know enough about Halo to, I think, even consider Halo good or bad at this point.
Yeah.
It is a
like
nebulous
I said,
thing.
That's the opening cutscene. It has to be.
Yeah, it is a nebulous concept that exists that has nothing. So, all right, stand out moment of E3, and God. We are literally picking the last 2 moments from the direct, aren't we?
Yes.
I assume yours is Breath of the Wild too.
Yeah.
Okay, because mine is because goddamn it, I cannot help but lose my goddamn mind at Banjo-Kazooie being in Smash.
I mean, technically, mine is both. I felt more of a surprise out of Breath of the Wild 2 than I did out of Banjo-Kazooie. Mainly because we kind of had an idea that might be a thing.
Yeah.
And I like I said, as soon as we cut the Donkey Kong, Diddy, and K. Rool in DK's treehouse there, I was like, I know where this is going.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know what else to pick. Because I can't put my finger on like one other moment that I'm like, yes, this is why I tune into E3. This is why I tune into the press conferences for this.
Yeah, I honestly think Nintendo had it.
Yeah. All right, so I guess a harder question. One game you want to buy coming out of E3.
Huh.
Like out of everything that has been shown, you could pick one.
Everything that's been shown, or everything that's been shown and has a release date / tentative release date?
Either or. I say crack it open, whatever. Just whatever.
Well, then that one, that's a no questions asked if we go with a whatever.
Yeah.
And it would be Breath of the Wild 2. The question on if we exclude stuff that doesn't have at least a tentative release date, probably Watch Dogs.
I kind of want to say that, but I also kind of want to say Astral Chain, because literally this E3 made me go, I actually want this game now. So I gotta be lying to myself to be like, no, I would not buy Astral Chain. I would buy something else. No, this E3 literally makes me want to buy this game.
Like, I feel like we had enough assortment, too.
Yeah.
Which, granted, I didn't see any more from Astral Chain, but if I did, that might change it. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would highly encourage watching like both Treehouse segments, because they give you like a very good picture of because the first segment gives you the opening of the game, the second segment gives you kind of in the middle of the prison, like in the middle area of the game, I feel like. And then the last one gives you, here are 2 boss fights with a full loadout. Here is what you can really do in this game when you are fully decked. And here is someone who like has worked on this game. I believe he was the director of the game, so he knows this game inside out, and watch him style on these fucking bosses. Like, I feel like between these 2 segments, like, if you're not into Astral Chain, watch these 2 Treehouse segments, and I feel like you will have more than enough information to go, you're in or you're out. Because it hits everything I feel like the game has to offer. And I would say the same about the Ultimate Alliance 3, like 2 segments we got over the course of these 2 days, because it again hits everything that this game is about. I almost want to say 3 Houses as well, even though it only had 1 segment this morning. But I feel like it's Fire Emblem's pretty well established, so it more or less shows what's unique about 3 Houses. Or most of what's unique about 3 Houses. Because they also went, by the way, do you have a run where your character dies? Oh, you can rewind by turn. And by action. I believe it's by turn and by action? I need to double check that, but you can rewind by turn and by action to like make up for your mistake. So you don't have to reset the map. But it's limited, just like the rewind in Shadows of Valentia is. So you can probably only use it so many times. And I believe in Shadow of Valentia it was a reset the turn, and you can only use it like twice per map. Whereas this is a literally go like Control Z on your moves. But you can probably only go back, like, you can scroll through, but when you pick a location, I assume it uses like a tick of whatever, how many ticks you have. And maybe depending if you go back far enough, it will consume more ticks. So I guess overall thoughts on E3.
I feel like for the most part it was kind of more on the meh side. Because
yeah,
we didn't have a ton of just, oh wow, was not expecting that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it was horrible either.
Yeah. I think if you didn't know Next Generation is coming next year, you can feel that there's something in the air because no one is playing the big cards besides Nintendo. Because Nintendo don't give a fuck. They do what they want. Whereas you can feel from Microsoft that they're not playing all their cards. Sony's absence feels like a kind of like big gap in terms of the usual crew of like, why aren't they here? And that commonality, I think, would make anyone go that doesn't already know that, like, yeah, the Xbox, like Scarlet, PlayStation 5, they're going to be announced next year. They're probably coming within the next year. They'll probably be competing with each other next year. So yeah, it's just this, you can feel it. And it sucks that instead of this last year on these consoles, instead of it being a big blowout, it's here's some stuff.
Yeah, it's a hold back and wait.
Yeah, because I guess timings of development made everyone like have their big blowout over the last couple years instead of this year. So like everyone's working on the next gen because everyone wants to work on the next gen. Because the tech is so good. It's practically a PC. Again, even though that's been the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, before we end off, releases! Because technically we don't have TGS Saturday. And I might as well do releases now.
Yeah, true.
So we're going to kick things off on the 18th with another Sight on Xbox One. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night for Xbox One and PlayStation 4. God, I hope that turns out really good. I'm going to be extremely sad if it doesn't. Like, they went and reworked the graphics from the ground up to make that game look really good. I just hope everything else holds up in that. Because I'm going to be extremely sad if it doesn't. Because I don't want another, like... Yeah, I hope... Because I don't want another big high-profile Kickstarter game to kind of, like, flop. Because we've had too many of those now. We also have Citizen of Space for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and Switch. Dragon Star Varnier for PlayStation 4. Jurassic World Evolution Claire's Sanctuary DLC for Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Pretty much... did you watch that last Jurassic World movie? Do you want to play out kind of the events of that movie? Here's the DLC for that. Like, literally.
Wow.
We also have Luna for PlayStation 4, Mars Alive for PlayStation 4, Minimac Mayhem for PlayStation 4, and Neverwinter Under Mountain for Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Ignore that other listing. Oops.
For Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation 4.
It wouldn't be a release list that I do if I didn't muck up something.
It happens.
On the 19th, we have Antiquia Lost for Xbox One. And on the 20th, 198X for PlayStation 4. And all of the following games on the Switch. Boxing Champs, Catch Universe, Duck of Defense, Forest Home, Gear Club Unlimited 2, Arrows Pack, Freeze Pack, Impact Checker, Lines X, Mainlining, Muse Dash, My Friend Pedro, Scrap Rush, Secret Files 2, Pretos Cordias, and Slender the Arrival. I only know My Friend Pedro out of that list, to be honest. And that's that kind of like 2.5D side-scrolling action movie game.
Yeah.
That is, what if you could do, oh wow, I'm tripping on the name. Super Hot, except instead of first person, it's a 2.5D platformer. Because they're the same idea. On the 21st, we have Captain Cat for Xbox One and Switch, Crash Team Racing Nitro Fuels for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and Switch, Freedom Planet for PlayStation 4 and Switch, Fix the Cat for Vita, and The Sims 4 Island Living for PlayStation 4. On the 25th, we have Bloodstained Ritual of the Night for Switch. Yes, it is coming out several days later. I double-checked. It was one of the times where I'm like, this release sounds suspicious. Double-check. Nope, it is legitimate. We also have Car Mechanic Simulator for Xbox One and PlayStation 4, F1 2019 Legends Edition, Sienna and Prost for Xbox One and PlayStation 4, Judgment, which is Judgment Eyes, the spin-off Yakuza game.
Ah.
Yes. It actually comes out this month. I forgot about that. It's one of those cases of, this might be the perfect time for me to get into the Yakuza series, if I was not already buying games next month, so... Monster Jam Steel Titans for Xbox One and PlayStation 4, Mutant Year Zero, Road to Eden, Deluxe Edition for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and Switch, Samurai Showdown for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and Switch, and Super Neptunia RPG for PlayStation 4 and Switch. I am super tempted to make it an incentive to play one of these Neptunia games for shits and giggles. Like, once we get past, like, 180, I'll be like, I'll play through one of these dumb Neptunia RPGs to see this meta bullshit nonsense. I am dumb and curious enough to do it, even though I have been warned. Like, I brought this up to my neighbor from college, and he was like, no. Unfortunately, I am too curious and dumb to listen. We also have The Sinking City for Xbox One and PlayStation 4. We the Revolution for Xbox One and PlayStation 4 and Switch. On the 26th, we have Outbreak Lost Hope for Xbox One. On the 27th, we have Dandy Dungeon Legend of Brave Yamada for Switch. Furwind for Switch. Ganya Fighter for Switch. Human Rock Person for Switch. MotoGP 19 for Switch. Sega Ages Virtual Racing and Wonder Boy and Monster Land for Switch. And War Tech Fighters for Xbox One and PlayStation 4 and Switch. And finally, on the 28th, we have F1 2019 for Xbox One and PlayStation 4, Hollow Knight Collector's Edition for PlayStation 4, Maddening Euphoria for Switch, Mercenary Kings Reloaded Edition for PlayStation 4, Rally Rocket Racing for Switch, Spellcasting Perfectively Portable Edition for Switch, Star Wars Bounty Hunter for PlayStation 4, and Super Mario Maker 2 for Switch. Not Galaxy, no.
It's Super Mario Galaxy 3.
Yes. And that is it. And will take us to approximately our next show in 2 weeks, where we will probably not have a lot to talk about because it's post E3.
2.5 weeks.
Yeah. And that will do it for us for all of our E3 stuff. Tomorrow, I'm doing 1.5 in Ace Attorney 1, or in the Ace Attorney trilogy. We might just go till I'm done on 1.5. I don't know. It depends on how long it takes. Friday.
It's possible to change, but we're tentatively going to continue Twilight Princess.
Yep.
Like, if nothing else, we'll be continuing it.
Mm-hmm. Saturday.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. And Saturday, in place of our usual TGS podcast that you've gotten like 4 days of.
Yeah. Aren't you lucky?
Yeah. We'll be getting Fortnite. We'll be doing Fortnite, catching up on the weekly challenges and Fort Bites, but probably not. I'll probably just be doing Fort Bites like Friday before the stream. Or Friday the day before, just to catch up on them. Because I would like the extra skin options that are in there. Or that are tied to them. And that'll take us around to...
I don't care about Fort Bites. If I get them, I get them. If I don't, oh well.
Yeah. That'll take us around to next Tuesday, that we will be picking up where we left off on O's for TGSR. And I'll be having to rewatch the episodes Sunday, even though I've already watched them and done up the notes. So I'm going to have to rewatch them to make sure.
And I'll have to rewatch them too.
Yeah. So, if you enjoyed what you've heard and enjoyed what you watched from all this week, give us a follow. Tell people about our stuff. Tell them to drop by. We need more average viewers. We are only missing that to become affiliate. So please, drop by, hang out, talk to us. Like we'll be happy to talk with you for hours and shoot shit about stuff. But yeah, if you also want to know when we're live, there's Twitter at TG Saloon. It'll let you know when we're live, as long as the bot is not tired from E3, because bot has been very tired from E3.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be rebooting it after we get done.
Yeah. Anyway, I will see you tomorrow for Ace Attorney.